You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Yo, what's good, guys? So I got some bad news here today. Officially, might be the first ever time in Sweep the Rack history that I might be doing the show by myself. So I can't find Big Mike. I have no idea where he is. Haven't been able to reach him since probably a few nights ago. I'm pretty sure it was Tuesday night. So last night, I know he put some ominous tweets up about something happened at league. I'm not really sure. So tonight it might be a solo night for us talking Sweep the Rack. But wait, hold on. Oh, shit. There's somebody backstage, though. I think I might want to bring this person on. I'm not sure what's going on here. I think we're getting hacked here. Hold on. Let me grab this person.
Good evening. I can't reveal my identity. But I will say that I am a member of the sport league that Big Mike bowls in on Tuesday nights. I'm here reporting to you anonymously because Big Mike will likely deny this. I'm reporting anonymously that Big Mike bowled a 447 series for 3 games last night. He's going to deny it. He's not going to own it. I'm here to report it. Please don't try and find my identity. I do not want Big Mike to find out. In fact, I have to go. I have to go 447. I have to go.
Dude, what just happened? We just got hacked by somebody called the League Bowler, who claims that Mike bowled 447 last night in league. So I don't know what is going on tonight in Sweep the Rack. So all kinds of shit going down. We got hacked by the League Bowler, somebody who's claims to be the League Bowler, claiming to bowl on Big Mike's league. So yeah, I don't know what's going on tonight, but hey, man, we got a great show for you guys without Big Mike. We're going to talk a little bit about regionals and finance. Sorry, I'm laughing at some of these comments in the chat right now. We're going to be talking about regionals and some payout, what's happened last week. And I want to get into a little bit of that. We have a new Tom Smallwood trailer out, which want to get into some of our reviews on the trailer and talk a little bit about that. So just kind of seeing what's good tonight. Let's read some comments here. What's up, Greg, man? It's good to see you, dude. Big, long time listener. And wait a sec. Hold on. I think Big Mike actually is here. Wow, this is crazy. A lot of shit going on tonight. Big Mike.
Rob, what's good? I'm sorry. I didn't see your invite. I didn't see the link until a couple minutes ago. I got distracted. I was helping my kids with some homework. I got a little distracted. I didn't see your link until a couple minutes ago. We good?
Yeah, we good. But some crazy shit happened while you were late the last 4 minutes. As someone came on the show, hacked into the show, by the way, claiming to be part of your league, and claimed that you bowled the 447 last night. And I can't confirm or deny that's true, but I figured you might want to address the media here.
For 3 games, they said that?
They said you bowled 447 in your sport league last night,
bro. For 3 games, they said that?
Dude, this guy, he had a mask on, he had glasses. Dude,
so wait, someone came here anonymously and said that?
Yeah,
I'm not even going to respond to anonymous fodder. I'm not even. Dude. It's not even worth my time responding.
Okay, so question then: so how did you bowl last night in league?
I'm not going to get into the specifics, but it wasn't a great night. It wasn't a great night in my world of sport bowling. As everybody knows, I started off the league with with a rough 475. And again, I'm not here to discuss specifics or respond to anonymous fodder, but yeah, it wasn't a good night. Wasn't a good night at all. I will say this. I left an 8-pin. I left 2 solid 9-pins, and I left probably 3 ring 10s throughout the night. So, take that for what it's worth. Take it for what it's worth,
I mean, okay, so if you make all those spares and you strike here and there, you at least what? I mean, bowl like at least 500, no?
What's a spare?
Jesus, Mike. Okay,
Oh
Mike.
my God. Oh my God. Disaster.
Disaster, huh? Not bad.
Disaster. I mean, yo.
We're
having fun. We're having fun. Because I'm not getting on here and even getting into it that deeply. But sport bowling is hard, man. Sport bowling is hard, man. Can I say something too? And I'm not, people are gonna flame me for this, right?
Dude, my brother.
I have one. It doesn't fit very well. Obviously, doesn't fit very well.
Dave Brooks starting a GoFundMe to get Mike a spare ball in case anybody is listening and not watching.
So I want to say this, okay? To me, there are 2 groups, and you know what? Maybe this will make no sense to anybody else, but I have bowled in the sport league environment for a while now, right? And I've noticed something, okay? And what I've noticed is that there's mainly 2 groups of sport bowlers, okay? There are the sport bowlers who think they have enough skill and knowledge, or maybe they do, maybe they don't, but they believe that they have enough skill and knowledge to play the lanes the way that they quote unquote technically should be played. Okay. Then you have a group that really doesn't try and do that at all. They really just, kind of, I call it playing safety, right? What I mean by that is they kind of just do something that they know they can do, whether it's a good look or it's not. And they do their best to keep the ball around the head pin and make as many spares as possible. Maybe they cross over once or twice and, they bowl a decent game. I am in the former group where I do believe, and obviously I'm probably wrong at this point, I need to put some work in, but I believe that when I go into bowl on a sport pattern, I'm going to do my best to figure out the quote unquote right technical way to attack that pattern, equipment wise, where I play the lanes, etc., and go in and do that, right? Even if I'm having trouble executing that, I'm likely to still go in and try and do that. And I'll give a couple examples of this. Like, one example to me would be bowling on wolf pattern, right? Like, I've bowled on wolf before in a sport league that I was in, and let me say, it's an extremely tough pattern if you're not deadly accurate, and you're supposed to play in the extreme outside angle. And I try to
people
play.
Who don't know wolf, it's 32 feet,
32 feet, right?
32 feet flat, right?
So I try to play the extreme outside angle, and I throw a lot of gutter. And then, this is going back some time, but I throw gutter balls and have other I yank it and cross over pretty badly, etc. But I don't resort to just moving to the middle of the lane and kind of keeping it safe, right? So that would be one example, right? And I think that example should kind of make sense to people with the short pattern, etc. But that's the frustrating part about it. Listen, I'm not knocking the people who choose to play them a different way. Let me be clear. I'm not knocking those people. You do what you can, you do what you think the right thing is. But to me, when I have the knowledge, I believe that I can execute what I think I have to do. And, when you're wrong about that, when you play them that way, when you play them the way they're supposed to be played, and you're wrong about your execution side of it, things can get really ugly really quick. And
let me respond here, because I do believe that if you're bowling on a sport pattern in general, if you signed up to bowl a sport pattern, you're interested in improving yourself and getting experience on trying to play them the correct way. Okay, so I would have wait, let me finish. I believe that a lot of the people who maybe bowl the sport patterns just don't have the education or the teaching to show someone how to do that. And I feel like, and I'm just thinking myself as if I was to play golf. Okay, I am not a golfer. I play maybe twice a year. When I see a hole and I see a fairway and a green, I try to hit it straight down the fairway. I try to hit it at the flag, and I try to put it in the hole. Okay. If a pro comes onto that hole, they're looking at that completely different. They're going to play a draw. They're going to play a fade. They're going to play to try to hit the green on the correct way so that they could have the easiest chance of putting, right? Now, as a bowler, when I'm on a sport pattern, that's how I'm looking at the lane, right? I'm trying to figure out the best ball, figuring out where to play, where everybody around me is having success, like what's the best release, what's the best ball speed. I'm trying to put all these like options together to create my best strategy to attack the sport pattern. Now, if I'm, a casual bowler and I don't know how to hit a draw and how to hit a fade and how to like I'm going to try to play my A game, right? And what I'm comfortable doing, I'm comfortable playing the second arrow. I'm comfortable playing the third arrow, whatever it is, because I don't know how to play the first arrow. I don't know how to slow hook 20. I don't know how to play straight up 5. That's not the bowlers on your league's fault. It's just the fact that they probably don't have the experience and they never had the training or coaching to show them and understand how to attack those patterns differently.
100% agree with you, Hoss. We don't agree like that all the time, many times at all, but agree with you on this one, man. That's why I say, like, I don't want people to get the impression that I'm knocking the people who play safety. But can I also make this point, though, and I'm serious about this point, too. And if you have a bowler on a sport pattern who's playing safety and a bowler on a sport pattern who's playing the pattern but not really executing, the player who's playing safety is probably going to win that game. They're probably going to win that match, whatever it is. I mean, if those two things continue on, like unless the bowler who's playing the pattern can dig down and find a way to execute, and listen, the pattern we bowl on, the YouTube video that Chris Barnes did on it's Athens pattern. It's a medium pattern, WTBA pattern. The YouTube video that Barnes did on it, he comes on, he's like, yeah, this is one of the higher scoring WTBA medium patterns. And I'm like, yeah, not in my world, Hoss. I don't know if it's the center we bowl in or what, but here's how I'll describe to you how I feel you have to play them. And Rob, I got to tell you, I'm right. I'm right about how to play them because, again, a regional guy next to me, bowling to the right of me, the same person I bowled last week who beat my brains in, played them exactly as I was trying to play them and whacked them. Went to 279 the first game, I think. I mean, really had a great look. So this pattern, medium pattern, 40 feet, 2-1. And, yeah, you really have to play out. You got to get out. Like, ball's got to start no further left than probably 10, and it's got to get to 5 or right of 5 pretty deep down the lane. But it's got to be slow because there is some volume out there. So it's tricky. And listen, yeah,
well,
I bowled terrible. Everything went wrong. Everything was bad. I missed every spare. And I'm telling you, I did leave those leaves that I told you about before. So, like, even the good shots that I did execute well, and there weren't many, didn't strike. And listen, that's what's going to happen. Rob, I'm going to say this, and we're having fun earlier in the podcast, okay? And I don't want to harp on my bad bowling, but I'm going to put this out there. I bowled a 106 game last night. Okay?
Hey, I bowled 116 in the tournament a few weeks ago. So.
Listen, I bowled a 106. Rob, Rob, I don't want to hear people shit, and I'll tell you why. Right? This is why I draw the line of hearing people shit. Look at the standings of any PBA tournament you want or any PBA regional you want. There's people that show up to PBA tournament. Yeah, okay, whatever. You can react however you want. If you react that way, it tells me that your experience on sport patterns is likely limited. Okay,
I'm reacting like that.
No, you reacted. No, that's nonsense. You reacted by saying, yeah, a couple weeks ago I bowled
I
116
did.
in a tournament.
I did.
So, Rob, that's my
Everyone's done
point.
it.
If
Everyone's
you've
done
had, Rob, you are, again, 100% agree with you. If you have some experience bowling on tougher stuff, trust me, you've bowled bad games.
You bowled
120,
it.
1-teen,
100%.
1-0, okay? For
100%.
Christ's sake, Tom
Tom
Darty
Darby
on
bowled
TV bowled
99.
100,
100,
okay?
right.
So
100%.
I always put that I
100%.
always put that in perspective, right? And
Absolutely.
I don't think the people that don't regularly compete on those conditions understand how easy it is to bowl a game like that.
Oh,
Now,
it could happen. The roof could crumble in real quick.
yeah,
You start off split. You're catching up, and then you try to strike flat 10, and then another split. Look, it misses spare. And then forget it. Like the Titanic is sunk already. The one thing too, I do want to point out when you're bowling on a flat pattern is it really does matter how everybody on your pair is also playing them. Now, I'm not going to put the blame on that, but look, when patterns, if you look at the graph, and I'm not a real technical guy when it comes to graphs and lane graphs and bowling, when it comes to how the oil gets put out, but a flat pattern is a flat pattern, right? It's supposed to be flat and evenly distributed across the whole lane, right? Now, it really does matter how people start them in practice, and if people are using urethane, which I'm sure there was a lot of people doing that.
no, if any, and you know what, I mean, listen, I bowled so bad for me.
It does matter, though.
I know, but for me, I do not want people to think that I'm making an excuse. There's people that bowl in my league that watch this podcast, so I don't want people to think that I'm using the bowlers on my pair as an excuse for bowling the way I did. I would never do that. But I will say there were a lot of really dull, really aggressive balls going down the middle of the lane. So yeah, I mean, I kind of stayed away from it where I was at, and it was clearly my execution and my spare shooting that was the problem. But the other frustrating thing for me, Rob, and I don't know if you've ever experienced this before, but I can go and bowl, and even if I'm bowling bad, I can pretty much look at any bowler around me and tell them, oh, you're doing this right, or you're doing that wrong, or you need to switch balls, or you need to move on the lane. But I cannot figure it out for myself. I can't. I can tell the two teammates I bowl with from practice, I had them, boom, right in the right ball, playing the right part of the lane, giving them the key things to focus on. And they were even telling me, yeah, you were right. I feel good. I feel comfortable. I'm concentrating on that. And dude, I'm a mess, and I can't figure out why I'm a mess and what I need to do differently. So I switched balls like a couple frames into the third game. I ended up shooting, I think, I don't even know, maybe 170 the third game, something like that, right after switching balls. And I switched to a proton physics with the pin up, and I was basically playing up 10 to 7 with that ball, which in my mind, I would never think, oh, yeah, that's the way I want to play them. Now, like you said, I think that had more to do with the breakdown of what happened. But, yeah, listen, atrocious, man, atrocious. But here's my final point on this, and we'll move on because, I don't want to talk about my stupid league bowling all night. It makes me want to practice, Rob. I got a lesson. I got a sesh scheduled for Thursday already with a local bowler that I highly trust to take a look at what I'm doing, try and help me out. We're going to look at the patterns of my equipment. I also have 5 or 6 bowling balls waiting for me in the shop that I haven't drilled yet because my ball driller got COVID. So, I think that will help a little bit, having some options and some fresh rocks. But yeah, I got a practice session scheduled for Thursday. The Dave, you're wild. Dave Brook just started a GoFundMe for me. So if you guys want to donate to here, listen, Dave, I can tell you right now, we're going to donate that to charity. So if you guys want to do something fun and have it go to some kind of good charity, possibly in the bowling community, good. Let's get that done. But let me be clear. I don't need anyone to buy me any bowling ball. All right. Just to be clear. I love it though, Dave. I love it. I went in the league last night, Rob, and I was like, I went on my podcast last week and talked about how bad I bowl and get my ass kicked. Because I'm honest about it. And next week, I'm still going to be bowling a 230 house bowler on a pattern at Nob Hill, where I actually usually my ball likes the way it reads the lane there. But here's the other issue, Rob, right? It makes me want to go practice, okay? But you know what? There's nowhere to practice. There's nowhere I can go consistently and say, hey, let me walk in and get this pair that has a pattern on it so I can actually see how I'm throwing it. Because I don't care what people say. When I practice on a wall, no matter what I do, it feels like I'm throwing it great. I leave the place feeling like I'm throwing it like I'm ready to go bowl on tour. And then I go out to the sport conditions and I realize that I'm throwing it like garbage, even though I feel like I'm executing it the same. And honestly, that's probably the most frustrating point to me about bowling in this environment is that
it's 100%.
I cannot find a place to practice.
Dude, it's so bad. It's
practice.
To the point where
talking about practice, David Tolson.
But here's the thing, though. Like, one, just a couple suggestions for you. Did you try to like having someone take a video of you while you were throwing the ball? Like,
I did.
Just taking a few shots?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Okay, so just a suggestion. Maybe you could see something like.
No, I did, and I picked up on the fact that I felt like I was ending a little bit too far left for where I was trying to play, so I did move right, and I executed a couple shots, and then everyone was a pull. But go ahead.
Okay. The next question is, can you stay after the league? And I know that's not fresh, but are you able to stay after and bowl on the patterns after?
There is a fresh pair.
Oh,
actually, because there's
why
a
don't
burn
you stay
pair.
there? Stay there and go.
And people are going to knock me for this, and that's okay. People are going to say, "Oh, see, he makes excuses, whatever." Our league gets done at 10 o'clock, 10:30.
Oh, I'm not going to bust your balls for that. I'm in bed by 9:30.
Yeah, so am I, Rob. So am I.
Yeah.
So like, I'm up at 5:30. So like, for me to stick around, for even a half hour or 45 minutes. And and practice that late at night, it's not productive for me.
100%. Okay, well, yeah. So I'm just wondering, but yeah, hey,
my league exploits. I'm here all year, folks. I'm here for another 34 weeks for your for your ridicule pleasure. I'm here for the next 34 weeks. Oh my God!
I'll be interested to see what happens with the practice and see if that helps you. But it should, and I commend you for wanting to get better and going and getting lessons and maybe drone balls, because me a 106 probably would make me want to retire.
Oh, I mean, yeah, right. Come on, but at the same time, I know I'm better than that. You know I'm better than that. Anybody who's seen me throw a bowling ball knows I'm better than that. But yeah, I'm not going to sit here and make all the regular bowling, stereotypical bowling excuses, which I could. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to own up to it and say I didn't bowl good. I missed spares, and that's what it boils down to. But yeah, I do wish there were more opportunities to practice on the tough. But like I said, I'm working on that. I'm trying to create those. Majestic David Pekow is good. They had the sessions out during the summer on Monday nights. I did go to them, but I believe those end, when the winter leagues start, because they get packed up with leagues.
Here's the thing is, I really believe this. Back in my younger days, if I had access to bowl and practice on patterns whenever I wanted or whenever I could at a bowling center, that was convenient for me instead of me having to drive a half hour to do that. I feel like that my career might have been a lot better. The fact where I didn't really have a lot of access to practice on patterns. And I feel like a lot of bowlers out there but listen, I feel like a lot of bowlers out there who want to make it on the national tour. Like, you get a lot of young guys that are in their 20s, their early 20s, that maybe didn't go to a college powerhouse, maybe that are trying to make it on their own to the PBA tour. I feel like they don't have access to practice facilities that give you, patterns and technology. You have to spend the money and go to a kegel to do that. And I feel like I really wish in every local bowling center there was a way for a bowler to put out a sport pattern whenever they really wanted to or whenever the bowling alley would. And I know, look, that isn't a perfect world, and I understand the business behind probably the bowling center is not doing that. But for high competitive bowling, I feel like there isn't a lot of outlets for bowlers that are young and want to become national level pros to do that. The only way to really do that is to go to a college bowling powerhouse, or own a bowling center or work at a bowling center
Be
or
connected.
be connected, or just
Yeah.
spend a lot of money, pay your dues, and travel and bowl everything you can. Okay. Now I want to get into the regionals because I want to transition.
Hold on.
This,
I got to respond to what you said. Again, we agree 100%. Rob, can you imagine if when we were younger, we had access to the kind of stuff the younger kids do today? You would have been seeing people. You would have been seeing people like you and Bill and Fagan and other guys we knew, Ryan Snyder, etc., Matt Burley, Dave Bokowski, a lot of guys. I mean, the list goes on and on, right? We would have seen guys like that making PBA shows at the Masters.
Well, here's the thing, Mike. This such a great point because we did see those, but here's the thing: is we didn't see the patterns that the PBA were bowling on. We saw these beat up old dungeon wood freaking nightmare haven't been stripped in 2 month patterns. Okay. So we were seeing some really hard patterns in the East Coast. The Team Masters put out some brutal shit. There was all kinds of JBTs where the scores were low. You bowled Sterling Bowl in Long Island where you leave 5-5-10s and all kinds of nasty shit.
But we bowled on a lot of easy stuff too.
We did bowl on easy stuff, but we bowled a lot of hard stuff. But the hard stuff wasn't equivalent to the shit that you'd see at a national tour stop. Once you got to that level, all of a sudden the tough patterns were completely different than what we saw in even college. We didn't even see a lot of those nasty shit in college. We saw these nasty beat up old patterns. We didn't see the hard, really hard, fresh kegel patterns really until maybe my last year.
Yeah, towards the end. You know I was going to say towards like 2002, 2003.
Right, you really start seeing
like,
it. It was too late already.
That's when it like people started to talk about, oh well, this is a short pattern, so even though it hooks and you would think you move left, you have to move right and play the gutter. And 100%. That was like a mind-blowing thing to me at that time. It was like, what do you mean? Like, no, they're hooking. Dude. We're going to move left and throw it harder. And so like, yeah.
Dude, I remember,
Rob,
here's a good story.
These are the issues with the game, man. These are the issues with the game. Like, I love talking about this stuff because, we start talking about my league bowling, but, it expands to like the opportunities and what those opportunities mean. And, honestly, I don't want to sound bitter and shit about our experience as younger bowlers, but I feel like we were kind of sold a false bill of goods to a degree, man. Because people hyped us up as, oh, great, and you're talented and all this. And like, they should have been telling us, no, there's a whole other side of the game. And like, you need to learn that other side of the game before you can really consider yourself good.
Yo, here's the thing though, too, is like if you really think about, I didn't really have a tour rep lay me a ball out until I was probably in my like maybe second or maybe when I was 21 or 22. I remember I made the top 60 at the high roller using a negative pin. When the tour rep guy drilled me, it was like a 5.5 inch pin. He put the pin under the middle finger. I'm like, what the hell is this? There was a hole in it. I'm like, dude, I've never seen this before. 21 or 22. These kids now are getting balls laid out like with negative pins at 14, 13 years old. We didn't have that. We were too busy dealing with the dungeons of the East Coast. And JD Santalucia, he knows about those dungeons. He bowls all those dungeons across the East Coast. But those dungeons, when you bowled on those your whole life, those never translated to bowling the PBA tour and bowling those hard. Dude, it was impossible to make that transition. Bill even had a hard time making that transition. He grew up like Fagan too. Like we would grab the bejesus out of the bottom of the swing, and they had to really soften up the bottom of the swing to kind of transition to the PBA. So, dude, you would be a god at somewhere in the East Coast in New Jersey, New York, bowling on some beat up wood lanes where there was no back end, and then you go to the PBA tour, and all of a sudden you saw your ball hooking leaps and craziness on the back of the lane, and we didn't have urethane to switch to you had to.
Well, you didn't have the knowledge either. You just didn't have the knowledge.
Dude,
so
struck for a year at these Jersey houses, and then you go to the PBA tour and you get your ass handed to you because these guys are fluffing it up 5. Walter Ray's killing you up 5, and you're trying to hook 20 because that's all you really know how to do.
Right? So like. Interesting conversation. I'm going to keep on my grind. I'm going to stay on the grind. We're on. Can I air out my co-host for a minute? You'd think this guy would want to take the pressure off of me and be like, yeah, just relax, have fun, you'll bowl better. No, what does he do? He goes on Twitter and says, if I don't shoot over 475 next week, I'm out.
You're out.
I'm out. I'm fired.
You're out, baby. You're
fired.
out.
Rob's making changes around here based on performance.
I gotta keep this real on this podcast, man. I can't have guys coming in but averaging 450.
Hey, how much? I averaged 150 last night for 3 games on a sports shot. You think you can beat me? Come contact me. Email me. I'm sure your brother thinks I'm doing this to set people up. He said on Twitter today. Jeff said he thinks that this is a ruse. It's not a ruse. I assure you. I'm there to bowl good. But listen, if you're in my area and you hear me on here talking and you think, oh, this guy stinks, I'd be able to beat this guy. Email me. sweeptherack@gmail.
You guys are making me feel so much better about myself for struggling on sports shots. Mark, kudos to you bowling on a sports shot.
Good, man. There's no shame in bowling bad on something tough. There's no shame in that.
My advice to you is if you're struggling on a sports shot and you see someone in your league that's bowling good, go talk to them after. Go talk to them and say, hey, what are you doing? What should I do differently? Bowlers want to help bowlers. Any sport league I've ever been in, if I was bowling good and someone's bowling bad and they came over to me and asked me how I'm bowling good and what I should do, I would spend 10, 15 minutes with them, try to help them, because that's what we should do all as bowlers, is help each other learn how to be better. And that's going to make the sport progress, right? Is people learning and wanting to get better, and then having the coaching and having the education available to help you, right? Mike, you should maybe go talk to Lou Gaudio, right? That's the guy who's kicking your ass in the league. Ask him what you're doing wrong, right? Right?
I asked.
He's a good guy. He'll help you.
I had a conversation with him. We were bowling next to each other. I said, it was short. I just asked him. I said, what ball are you using? Because I thought it was a Hustle Camo, which I have sitting in the shop to drill, and I didn't drill it yet. It wasn't. It was a Hustle Solid. I asked him what kind of layout he had on it just to get an idea. And honestly, it was exactly what I would pick to use myself, like this type of ball with this type of layout. I just couldn't execute. But Rob,
anyway,
when people bowl on house leagues, you know what they do when they shoot 620 or 630 or 640 or 580 or 550? You know what they do, Rob? You know what they do. Come on. What do they blame? Rob?
They blame the bowling ball.
They blame the ball. They blame the lane machine. They blame the approaches.
Everything. Dude, back in the day, Robert Hamilton, good comment. Back in the day when going to the pro shop operator asks you what you want the ball to do, because they didn't know what the balls were doing. Never really gave you a breakdown. Never really gave you a breakdown of what the ball does. Just drill a ball. Dude, I didn't have the ability to know or understand how to even drill. So they'd ask you, what do you want the ball to do? Of course, what are you going to say when you're a kid? I want the ball to hook, right? Because that's what everybody teaches you. I want a ball to hook. But nowadays, it's not how much the ball hooks, it's where the ball hooks. Okay. Yeah. Now, so everybody understands that, Mike. Everybody needs to understand the difference is when you're looking for a bowling ball and you're going to your pro shop and you're looking to attack a pattern, you got to figure out where you want the ball to hook. Okay. Because every ball hooks. Okay. Some balls hook early, some balls hook late.
How you want it to hook.
How you want to hook and where you want to start hooking, right? Probably the reason why your proton physics rolled really good is because that's a huge asymmetrical bowling ball. Yeah, go long and snap. Everybody wanted that.
How many? I was gonna say, Ron, how many times were you in a pro shop and you heard that?
Dude, the reason why your proton physics probably look good on that pattern is because it's an asymmetric, and the asymmetric balls, they burn up quick. So to you, the ball probably used up a lot of energy early, and you were able to control it. When maybe your low end stuff like your hustles or whatever were hooking way too much in the back of the lane because they were storing too much energy. Dude, my opinion to you is if you're going on a pattern like that, try to use something that hooks early. Use something that uses up energy early and try to control the back of the lane. Mike, I love talking about your league, but
come on, this is much more than about my league now. It is. I like the fact that it leads to these other topics about other things. But league bowlers make excuses about everything. Rob, when you bowl on something real, you know what the only excuse is?
You suck.
I stink and I need to go practice, and that's part of what's wrong with the game. All right, let's move on, Rob. You want to talk about regional prize funds, okay? Regional prize funds. Go ahead.
I saw a post on Twitter that a regional was held out in my area last weekend. Okay, I normally would have bowled, but I'm not in any bowling shape to bowl right now, and I probably would have bowled a 106. To be honest with you, but honestly, like I'm not in any shape. I'm not in any shape to bowl regional, and it would just been a $285 donation for me. Plus, it was the opening weekend of NFL, right? And if I did by any craziness make the cut on Saturday. Like I would have to miss football Sunday, and you know that I'm not into that. So anyway, I did see the winner, and I looked at the winner of who I believe was Cooley, right? Sam Cooley won, which is no surprise, right? Who lives in my area. He won $2,600 for first place. Okay, so that got me thinking. Let me go look at the prize fund for the regional, and see what the prize fund was. So this was the prize fund. If anybody is wondering, and I'm giving facts here. I'm not speculating. Sam Cooley won. He won $2,600. The 10th place was $750, and the last cashing spot, or I'm sorry, top 12 was 700. So Mike, the top 12 got 700. They paid, it looks like, about 26 spots, 450 for the last spot. Okay, that got me thinking. How bad is the PBA regional prize funds, where first place is paying $2,600 for a pro tournament? Okay, so now I did some math here. Okay, now people could agree with me, disagree with me on my math. If you want to correct me in the chat, I'm cool with that. Here's what I did. In order to bowl regional, you most likely have to drive up there Friday. Okay, it's very rare where you could go to a regional and leave Saturday. So
unless you're not going to practice.
Unless you're not going to practice, but even still,
you're going to show up and not practice. I mean, I don't know.
But here's the thing: is you had okay, how many entries? It's a good. There was 80. Looks like 80 total entries, which is probably a good turnout for a regional. Okay, 80. Okay, 2,600 for first. Now I know they pay 1 and 3, which is good. So they paid, whatever the 1 and 3 was, they paid 25 or 26 spots. My whole deal is I broke down my expenses. Okay, and this is me traveling alone. Okay, now I'm averaging in a regional, in a normal regional circuit, you're probably going to average drive about 300 to 400 miles to a regional. Okay. Now there's instances where you might have to go 1,000 miles, and there's places where it's your local bowling center. Okay. Now, if I'm going 350 miles, I'm doing a round trip of 700 miles. Okay. Most likely, if you're in a Civic, which is what I drive, right, some normal ass car that's pretty good on gas, you're probably going to go through 3 tanks of gas. Okay, so figure about $45, $40 for a tank of gas. You're probably going to pay around $120 for 3 tanks of gas if you're driving 700 miles round trip. 2 nights in a hotel, right? Average probably around $85 a night for a hotel if you're staying in a decent hotel or somewhere average. So it's about $170. Figure
Not
9
me.
meals.
Not me. Shit, that hotel's bill is going to be like $5 for me. I only stay in bougie places.
So figure, I'm just saying, this is reasonable, right? $170 for 2 nights hotel. You're probably going to spend $200 in 2 nights in a hotel with taxes and fees and whatever else they get you for. So figure $200 for 2 nights total, 120, 9 meals. Okay, average out $20 a meal. Okay, 3 meals. Now breakfast, you could have complimentary breakfast. But Mike, we all know on a regional night, Friday night, Saturday night, you're probably going out to dinner, you're having drinks. You're probably going to spend more than $20 if you go to a restaurant at night. So I average it out, $20 a meal, $180, right, total for your 9 meals.
Rob, I know some professional bowlers that would be personally offended if you asked them to spend more than $20 for a meal. Okay.
Yeah, and that's the thing. But
to be clear,
alcohol, right? People drink a lot at these regionals. They go, they have a good time, whatever. They go out to eat. $180 is reasonable for food, okay? And the entry fee, if you're a member, is $225. Okay. Total expenses, you're probably about $700 to $750 total expenses if you're driving 350 miles. Okay. Give or take, right? Mike, you'd have to finish in the top 5 to break out even at a regional that was 350 miles. And most likely you'd have to take off work on a Friday if you did work Monday through Friday. And if you made the finals and you made the top 5, you probably wouldn't get out until probably 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Then you have to drive 5 or 6 hours. You get home by 9 or 10 p.m. and then you'd have to wake up early ass morning, Monday morning, to go back to work. Okay. Is all of that for 3 days worth to put up $750 if you're traveling alone? Okay. Is it worth going to a regional to try to bowl for a $2,600 prize fund where you have to beat Jacob Buttriff and Sam Cooley in the top 5? If you're someone like me who bowls once a week?
Technically, no, but we're gonna disagree on this because I don't know. I have to be honest. I wish there were more money in the regional program. Obviously, I wish there was more money at every level of professional bowling, but I just don't think the regional program is like to make money. I think it's for three purposes. It's for current tour guys to keep their skills somewhat sharp. Okay. It's for emerging local possible tour pros to dive into some local competitions and see how they do. And then third, it's for the the dedicated weekend warrior type bowler who makes enough money, honestly, in most instances that I know of, where, even if they break even and they didn't make anything for the weekend, that's fine. Or even if they lost a couple hundred, but they got to bowl against some really good bowlers who they respect as professionals. I mean, that to me, Rob, and I know this sounds corny, but the regionals to me would be about, I would love to start bowling regionals if I could get to that point of confidence. And for me, it would just be awesome to make the finals of a regional and get to bowl somebody like a Bill or a Kyle Troop or, I'm trying to think of some of the other guys in the Eastern region, a Parker Bone or something like that. Like that would be just, it would be crazy. It would be surreal. So I get that. But at the same time, I do think that it would be nice to see some improvement there.
Okay. So here's my issue with what you said is we talked last week about how amateurs shouldn't make any money, right? They should be just bowling amateurs. That was my stance, right? You have a different stance, obviously. My stance was maybe they should evaluate not paying amateur, right? This is a PBA tournament. This is professional. This is where people are going and doing it for a living, okay? This is their income, okay? So you're telling me as a professional, someone like, Jacob Buttriff, right? Who does it for a living, okay? If he didn't have a great year on tour, or I don't want to use Buttriff because he's one of the top 10. He maybe someone like Michael Holloman.
He's a good example though because he's won a ton of regionals too.
One of them. But my thing is like someone like a Michael Holloman or someone like maybe like a Nathan Bohr is a good example, who maybe is like in the 30th or 40th in points, and they made maybe 15,000 on the national tour. Like, this is where they have to support themselves if they want to be a professional bowler, and that's what they want to do.
No.
Well, how else are they going to do that?
They got to work. They got to work if you're not earning the money out on tour and your sponsorships aren't making help. Yeah, but hold on a minute.
The regional tour should be at least supporting. Like, there should be more money in the regional program.
But Rob, you're short-sighted here because that's not the way it would work out. Because if you improve the money on the regional tour and the prize funds get better and there's better for top prizes, then the guys who bowl the regular tour and are making money out there, they're going to take note and they're going to show up to the regionals and win that money. So the guy who you want to benefit from these increased prizes, et cetera, is likely never going to benefit from it anyway, right? Unless you shut out the top guys.
Which and you're not going to shut out in the regions.
I don't know. I don't like. Would you be open to a system? Let's really think outside the box here, right? If we could do anything we wanted, would you be open to a system where? And I'm not saying exempt tour, but I guess in a way I'm hearkening back to that, where the PBA tour is not just an open tour. Right, there's a limited number of people who are invited to compete in all the actual PBA national events. But those people who are invited to those events cannot bowl the regional events. And then those people that perform really well at the regional events eventually get their chance to crack that field at the national events. Like, would you be okay with something like that?
Probably not.
Okay.
Here's my thing is, like, I don't have the answers on how to solve. What I do know is the PBA regional, like the way they do it and their prize funds and their regions needs to be reevaluated. Okay. I'm not going to say the system is broke, but the regional circuit and the way the regionals are ran, like the West Coast region, is way too big. Okay. So that 350-mile average, that is not going to be the case in the Western region. Doesn't matter where you live. If you live in Vegas, California, Arizona, Northern California, Oregon, you're probably averaging more than about 700 miles each way, 600 miles to bowl these regionals. Now, there has to be some way where the PBA does, want to have an outlet for those guys that are in the maybe 50 points to 100 points in the national tour, an outlet for them to, get better and to, start making a name for themselves. Kind of like how maybe the NBA has what is that? They have like that arena league in the summer or whatever they do, the summer league, right? Where you're not going to see LeBron James in the summer league, but you're going to see a lot of the guys who are trying to get to the NBA in the summer league. I do feel like the PBA needs to reevaluate that and maybe come up with some kind of summer league where they are running a tour only for the people that are 50 points and below. So I feel like that is – look, I'm just spitballing right now. I don't have all the answers.
Right. No, I hear you.
But I do feel like there has to be more tournaments. And obviously they have to figure out how to get more money in them, which I don't have the answer to. But Bolero now, the cash cow that's throwing all kinds of money at the PBA Tour, I feel like that money not only has to go to the national tour, but that money has to also go to the regional tour. That's all I'm saying. There has to be something.
Yeah, and Rob, I bring this up to your point that you just made, in kind of in response to what Ramsey's saying here. He's saying that they paid over $21,000 total for the tournament you're talking about when they brought in $22,000. So that's actually pretty good. But yeah, Ramsey, I think what Rob is saying is that he wants to see the PBA support the regionals in a better way, right? And build up the prize funds from a place outside of the entries, right? Because we all know, like, the regional program isn't that strong. I like your thought, Rob, and I again, like, we're not going to talk about this for hours here, but I like your thought about how the regions are too big, and I don't know, like, I know it would be hard logistically to have way more regions, right, and break things down even more. But I do think that breaking it down a little bit more locally might encourage more people to bowl on a somewhat regular basis. Like, I know around my area, I happen to be fortunate. There's probably like 2 or 3 regionals within a couple hours drive of my house. But I know that if there were, numerous ones every year within an hour of my house, I'd probably be way more likely to go to them, But I hope they support the program too,
Yeah, I just feel like that's where a lot of the future stars come from, the regional program. And I feel like they might have to reevaluate how they do the regionals and give more incentive to people like me and you who are amateurs who wouldn't even consider getting their card right now to maybe rethink that. Okay. Because there's a lot of people like us, Mike, that are good enough to get a card, even though anybody could get a card these days.
Son, don't put me in that category. No, you're gonna embarrass yourself putting me in that category, please.
I mean, look, like, there's a lot of amateur bowlers out there right now that don't have their cards because there's no incentive or motivation to get my card. Mike, the only incentive I ever had to get my PBA card was to, one, get $1 a game at the local practice facility in Fountain Valley, which was a PBA certified bowling alley. So I was able to practice for $1 a game whenever I walked in the building. To me, that's worth a lot when it comes to practice. And the other one was to be able to bowl like a World Series of bowling, which was cool, to bowl. And I learned a lot. But right now, I guarantee if you talk to most people in Anthony, Simon said,
goodness,
dude, go watch. I don't know if that's Simon, but go watch our first.
I plead the fifth. 4, 5, fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fifth. Okay, sorry. You're gonna have to rewind to the beginning of the episode or text me, and I'll share it privately. All right.
Anyone, look, I don't have the answers how to do things. I don't want to get crucified for saying it, but I do know a lot of people feel and think the same way I feel, that the regional program does need to be reevaluated, and they do need to come up with some creative changes to get more money, more tournaments, and more people there. So bottom line, that's enough of that. Mike, there was we had Bruce Falcon on the show.
We did.
We had Tom Smallwood on the show.
We were like early on this. We were early on this. Okay.
Yeah, we were. We got it early. I know once we said that the premiere is going to come on the show on CBS, that we'll have Bruce. Maybe we'll have Bruce and Smallwood back. I think I can make that happen.
I don't know. After we review this trailer, I don't know if either one of them's ever going to want to come on the show again, son.
You'd be surprised though, because look, I didn't hate it. Okay, because I took it for what it is. Okay,
oh my God, I hated it. I hated it.
So what did you hate about it?
I just thought it was corny, goofy, not funny, and poorly done as far as the bowling. Okay. The jokes were terrible. The ones that they put on the trailer anyway. The bowling ball thing where she pulls out the bowling ball with his name and a horseshoe on it. I mean, are you guys serious? Did they have no bowling consulting on this show? He's wearing a giant wrist brace. It's like, I don't know. He bowls 5 nights a week, and his wife has no problem with that. And, it just – and it really – honestly, there was – here's the scene that struck me as the most concerning. There was a scene where the actor who's playing Tom Smallwood is in the car with his kid, and it seems like his kid is into tap dancing. And it seems like his kid is being ridiculed for the tap dancing. And he says something to the kid don't let people make you feel that way. Do what you love. And I thought to myself, man, is this where this show's going? This is about embracing your inner nerd and following your dream to be a bowler. Because if that's it, honestly, I don't know. I'm out. I think I'm out on that. Dougie, What up? Dougie, will you check your DMs on Instagram, please, and get back to me, please? Can you check your DMs on Instagram, please, and hit me up? Thank you.
Dude, Dougie's a too popular of a guy these days to get back to you,
dude, I love what he's doing. He's a tournament director now, and I love it. I do. I love what he's doing. I love how he's branching out. I told you I went to the event that he ran a few weeks ago. I didn't bowl, but I did go and attend, and it was a very well run event, and very, very good,
Anyway, so let's talk more about the pilot here, because, I mean, look, when the media gets a hold of bowling, it's always the same shit, okay? You would think that maybe this time around they would have asked the bowling, some kind of expert, hey, there's a guy named Tom Smallwood who you probably could have spoke to, who probably could have told you maybe we should leave the wrist brace, maybe we should actually use a real bowling ball, right? Maybe hey, you would think one of the bowling ball companies would have died to get their bowling ball on CBS, right? So you would think that, dude, these bowling companies would have thrown all kinds of free shit. Who knows? Probably Storm might have even paid for the rights to but Smallwood isn't with Storm. I don't know. Whatever. You know what I'm saying, right?
Understood.
The one thing I'm really, really hoping, and ever since this was announced, I'm really hoping that they don't shit on bowling and really further the stereotype of already what bowling has in the mainstream media and mainstream culture. Okay. Meaning Kingpin. Okay. Which everybody always talks about. If you are talking to a non-bowler, the first thing they'll say is, oh, have you seen Kingpin? Look, Kingpin was a really funny movie, okay? But in reality, it didn't put bowling in a great light when it came to serious competitive bowling, okay? When he walks in and he's just like, oh, this is my church. Look at all the athletes. And it has all these big guys with beer bellies and eating pizza and drinking beer, okay? That's been the stereotype of bowling since the 60s and the 50s, okay? Where these bowling is just not taken seriously. It's always been a joke in the media. And I'm really hoping that that bowling isn't turned into another, cliche stereotype joke. Really, I'm really hoping that's not the case.
One thing I noticed in the trailer is the scene where the guy playing Tom Smallwood comes into the bowling alley, and his coach, who's a great actor, by the way, he's one of my favorite actors, that guy, the guy who's playing the coach. I love him in anything he's in. Don't know his name, but I love that dude. He tells him, number one ranked bowler in the world, about to win a major championship, and he's not even going to shoot a score higher than my boy Tommy did the other night. Don't you want to watch? And then he leaves and he pokes his head back in. So when I saw that, I thought to myself, oh man, this show is running the risk of having every 225, 230 league bowler going home to their wives and saying, honey, I want to be a pro bowler. Because
I hope
but listen,
happens.
but it again, like you just pointed out, that stereotype to me, as somebody who follows things in the game closely, right?
Dave, Bill Murray, that doesn't surprise me. Bill Murray was a dick in Kingpin, I guess.
As somebody who follows things closely, like that's a bad stereotype in bowling right now, Rob. The average guy at the bowling alley. And I know this didn't apply to Tom Smallwood. Obviously, he was like a really talented guy bowler from the beginning. But that is one bad stereotype that applies to bowling. And I didn't like seeing that in there. It was like, no, the local guy at the alley shooting his game, it doesn't mean that he's a pro, and yeah.
What drives me crazy though sometimes, Mike, and I'm really hoping, and I'm going to watch the show, and if anything, I just hope it makes me laugh. And maybe I could try to look through some of those. But what drives me crazy is the fact that regardless of if the show is good or not, and I'm hoping it's good, okay, I'm really in Smallwood and Bruce's corner on this one, because obviously I'm personal friends with them, and I'm really hoping it's a good show and it's popular and catches on and it's renewed. But the one thing that drives me crazy is, regardless, I hate sometimes in the bowling world, if it's good or bad attention, if bowling is in the mainstream media of anything, people are just like all over it. Meaning like for instance, like your boy Barstool Carl, right? And Coley and them retweeting him. And
where's he been?
I'm just saying,
he ain't around anymore. Shocking.
Regardless,
we're still here though.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, though? Like, regardless of what happened, like bowlers and these PBA people, regardless if it's good or not, the product, they just want bowling like on mainstream. You know what I mean? So like, I really hope that's not the case. I hope the show is good, and I really, for Tom and Bruce and everybody who's involved, especially bowlers, that the show is popular, the show is renewed. I'm really in their corner on this one. But I really hope it doesn't portray bowling, and it furthers the cliche of being a bowler.
I don't know,
like what the stereotype is. I just hate that.
I'm gonna reserve comment, but all good. All right, Rob, it's time to give the people what they want.
Yes, sir.
You want to go, or you want me to go?
I'll go first. So this post was taken today by the gift that keeps on giving, the USBC message board. Okay,
always.
And it was by a man by the name of Ethan DeBurr. And Ethan DeBurr was asking for advice on the discussion forum. And I normally, when I have people that are asking advice, normally take it for a grain of salt, because there's a lot of, entry level beginners, intermediate players that bowl, and they put up their messages. And, I that's what I like about the USBC message board, that there's a lot of like skill levels from all type. But this one, I laughed, and I just like, oh, Jesus Christ. Like, my current ball speed is anywhere between 12 and 16 miles an hour. Okay. So obviously he doesn't know his ball speed. No big deal. He throws a 12-pound rhino. I was told to get a 14-pound ball. Would a 14-pound rhino act much differently? I crank my wrist to hook it. Not how you're supposed to throw it, but it works for him. I do have a hard time being consistent. Well, I wonder why. He's cranking it and he's throwing it between 12 and 16 miles an hour. His hard time being consistent. Throwing it as a backup ball feels so natural, how it just rolls off my fingers. but I want to keep throwing it anywhere. So he writes, but I want to keep throwing from anywhere. I feel like on the lane. So he wants to throw it anywhere on the lane. He throws it back up. He cranks his wrist and he throws it between 12 and 16 miles an hour. But he wants to know if he should he wants to know if he should change to a 14-pound bowling ball.
Which, whenever I hear these descriptions, I always think to myself, like, if this person actually put a video up of them bowling, you know it wouldn't be anything like they describe themselves as.
But somebody asked us, we need a video. And I think they're just like wondering if like what he's saying. Because I would love to see a cranker backup ball who throws it between 12 and 16 miles an hour. And I would love to see that like video. So you're thinking, I think a lot of people are thinking like, post the video. We want to see this.
All right. I honestly, this was a very tough week for me for worst of the week because
worst of the week.
I should be. There were quite a few good ones. I have to give an honorable mention to a couple here. Somebody posted. That's what kind of week it was. I have to do honorable mentions. Somebody posted on the USBC message board today about how it was something about the rules of throwing with one hand versus another. Okay. And Tim Buck came on and he basically was like, admin, here's the rule, commenting turned off, and I banned 2 people. I mean, it's like, he's so wild, man. He's so wild. I love that guy. That's not my worst of the week. Then there was another gentleman who went on the Hammer bowling message boards and basically said, love Hammer, drilled 3 Hammer balls, but they all hit like marshmallows. And my pro shop operator gave me a proton physics, and I love it. So what should I drill from the Hammer line? It's like the proton physics. And I'm like, no, you should drill something Storm. Honorable mention on that one. But here's the one that
Wait. He went on the Hammer message board. He said the Hammer hit like marshmallows.
Yes. Yeah. And said his pro shop operator gave him a free proton physics. And he drilled that, and he loves it. He loves it. And he wants to know what from the Hammer line would hit like the proton physics. I mean, it's too good, yo. Right?
Drill a storm ball, you jackass.
I know. Drill storm ball. Yeah, a storm ball. All right, here's the one. Now you got to understand how good this one is for it to win, right? I mean, oh my God, I had to give honorable mentions this week because there were so many candidates. All right, it's from the dumpster fire that never goes out. The USBC Bowlers Discussion Forum. It is a post by a woman named Amy E. Ross. Amy E. Ross, shout to you. You won worst of the week this week.
Congrats, Amy. Congrats.
Here's her post, and I'm going to warn you, it's a long one. Here we go.
Okay, let's do it.
Quote, so aren't all bowling balls supposed to be drilled and set up so that they all do something a little different so that you can be able to make adjustments off of what your ball is doing? I'm asking this because all of my bowling balls are drilled and have the same layout to do the same thing, even though they are all different bowling balls, and they all have a thumb mold. I get that it's more convenient for someone to drill the bowling balls the same way so you can get more bowling balls finished. But it shouldn't be about what's convenient for them. It should be what is best for the bowler. And the person who is drilling your equipment should educate the bowler on the different types of ball layouts and not use a mold for all of the bowling balls that a person has. Because just because one ball feels good with it in does not mean that they all feel good or feel the same. I don't even know, yo. I don't even know, yo.
So
I don't know.
So wait. So let me break this down. So what she's asking is,
she's saying
she wants different layouts on her bowling balls.
All the balls have the same layout, right?
So she wants different layouts.
Doesn't understand that.
Doesn't understand that.
Right. Says the pro shop operator is drilling the balls with the same layouts to save him time, which would basically mean that he's drilling all these balls all at the same time. Like she's going in and buying 4 balls at the same time, and he's saying, no, all the same layout, save time. That's what we're doing. No,
pin
no, I don't think that's happening.
5 balls, pin over the bridge.
And then
save some time.
And then she's saying that the thumb molds
shouldn't feel the same.
Shouldn't be used because
Every
they
ball
feel
needs to feel
different.
differently.
They feel different from one ball to another, which kind of is the purpose of using a thumb mold, that all your thumb holes feel the same, I would think.
She
No?
doesn't want the balls to feel the same, I guess.
Oh, my goodness.
So
Rob,
she wants, hey, different balls need to feel different. Forget it. I'm not even going to try to
Rob,
reason this out.
this game,
Whew.
it's in bad shape, man.
It's
Bad shape.
desperate. We're desperate for educators.
I'm not gonna say what I want to say because I don't want to upset people out there in the bowling world. But man, oh my goodness.
Dude, we need educators. We need people to help educate bowlers. There's not enough of that. There's not enough of that right now. Everybody doesn't understand. Like, anyway. All right, Mike.
All right, final thoughts here, Rob. I'm going to let you go first. I want to see if you. I thought I would be able to predict what you would do for your final thought tonight. So what is it?
Well, besides NFL opening day being a shit show, and my team losing, and my fantasy football team's losing, not really. I mean, I don't like as for like bowling wise. I decided to take a few months off competitively. And there's only really one reason why I decided to do that, is because I'm not really personally, and I'm being honest, 100% honest here. I'm not really motivated. I don't really want to bowl right now. So I'm not. There's no other really reasons for me. Like, and a lot of it has to do with not being able to practice during the week. And then going to a tournament and finishing in 12th or 13th. And not throwing it good, and my balls don't feel right. I'm just not bowling enough. And so I decided to take some time off. I'm not going to bowl these tournaments the next few months. I probably won't bowl a tat in January. And then I kind of reevaluate where, if I really want to, bowl or how and what aspect I do want to bowl. So I was really honest with myself and was just decided, you know what, I don't really want to bowl right now. I don't really have the motivation. So I just decided to take some time off, even though I really wasn't bowling a lot anyway prior, but I was kind of felt like I was forcing myself to like bowl a little bit. And you shouldn't really do anything you don't want to do. So, yeah, so that's kind of my final thought.
So Rob uses final thoughts to announce his partial and non-permanent retirement from bowling right now. I thought your final thought was going to be shout to our guy. Shout to our guy, Bill O'Neill, for making yet another Hall of Fame. You didn't hear? Am I breaking the news to you? I'm not breaking the news to you, am I?
I knew he made it. Was it the SVSU Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
I knew he made it.
I just saw it today that your brother put it out, so that was cool. Shout to him on that. Are you going?
No, I'm not going.
No? Oh, jeez. That's whack, son.
Let me tell you something.
Should all be there.
Let me tell you something.
You should all be there. Your boy's going in. You should all be there.
Let me tell you something. I will go to Bill's induction to the PBA Hall of Fame. Okay.
Oh, of course you'll show up to that one. Of course you'll show up to. You should.
He's not even going.
You shouldn't even get an invite. You shouldn't even get an invite to the PBA Hall of Fame if you don't show up to the SVSU Hall.
He's not even going to the SVSU Hall of Fame.
Why isn't he going?
Why isn't he going? That's what I heard. I heard he's not going. So why am I going to go?
I'm gonna have to reach out and get confirmation on that. I'm a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that one too, because I'll see. But all right,
that's what I heard. And you know what?
Okay.
Like, first off, I'm an All-American. I'm on the wall. If they want me to come, they need to pay my trip out there.
They need to induct you. Is that what you're saying?
Yo, I was a 2-time All-American there. Why did they induct me? I gave him the reads in every lane we ever went to. You listen to my interview with the Fef, dude. I
heard. That's why I thought you would go. So like you could walk around and say, I had a lot to do with his success.
That was right? Me. I'm the reason why he's in the Hall of Fame. It has nothing to do with him being a 4-time All-American and a 3-time Player of the Year. But he's not even going. So you know what? Talk to Bill.
I will. I gotta say, it's very un-Bill O'Neill like.
See, my brother even says we both should have made it.
Oh my goodness! When I talk to him, I'm gonna tell him about that comment too. I'm going to tell him, rewind to the last 2 minutes of the podcast and check
I
it
talked
out.
to him today, so
Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
Football. I had some winners. I hit a 4-team parlay, although the 49ers crushed me by letting the Detroit. I had Panthers -4, Seahawks -2.5, Cowboys +9, 49ers -8, and the 49ers allowed the Detroit Lions to come all the way back and push on that game, but I still won. The Tennessee Titans absolutely crushed me, and the Kansas City Chiefs absolutely crushed me. I had both of those teams in multiple parlays where if they win those games, I mean, honestly, I'm probably making like a decent 4-figure number for the day, and they just totally crushed me.
Oh, real quick before we log off here, next week we're probably going to have to be doing this on a different day, and I can't confirm or deny that I will be at a live bowling event. Well, that's taped in the Phoenix area. I don't know if I could release the details of it, but you could probably figure it out.
All right. Well, you could text me the details if you want when we're
I
done
will.
here. But all right, everybody, have a good week. I'm gonna go practice. I'm off work tomorrow. I'm gonna go practice, get some work in. Rob put the pressure on me. I got to shoot better than 475 next week.
It's not a big number.
We're on the long. To me, it is. To me, it's a monster right now. We're on the long, and I should have some new rocks. So, yeah,
perfect.
We're gonna bowl better next week. I'm staying positive.
Awesome.
I'm gonna get it worked out. All right, everybody, have a good week. Take it easy. Hit us up on Twitter.
Yes.
I'm at the 215. He is at BrooklynRob11. At Sweep the Rack is our podcast account, and Sweep the Rack at Gmail. Hit us up. We always enjoy the time with you guys, and feel free to reach out. Rob, have a good week, and we'll see everybody next week.
Later.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.